Here I am, and there you are. There I am, and here you are. I said, there I am, and here you are. Here I am, and there you are. Now, I'm going to read Book of Psalms, Psalms 2, about the kingdom of the Son and kings exalted to accept him. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Now there is wrath being poured out. There is a time for everything under the sun. At the time of 1930, between 1930 and 1950s, when Master Farad Muhammad came on the scene with Elijah Muhammad, during that period, a short period of time, 1930 to 1950, that short period of time, 20 years, there was Marcus Garvey, Father Divine, Sweet Deity Grace. And at the tail end of that, because Noble Drew Ali died in 1929, so that was the tail end and almost the beginning of 1930. And Booker T. Washington died in 1915. So all of that at a time period. And they were doing similar things. Father Divine brought up all or many of the hotels, because Black people at that time were not allowed to stay in white hotels. He brought up many of the best hotels for that time, where Black people could stay. Sweet Daddy Grace bought the tallest apartment building in New York City, near Central Park West, and the most exclusive apartment buildings in Riverside Drive. That was before Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad Muhammad. And you know the many businesses Marcus Garvey encouraged his followers to have. And not only that, Eartha Kitt was denied an apartment in Manhattan. White people denied her, Eartha Kitt, a well-known star at that time. So Harvey Belafonte bought an apartment building in Manhattan and put Eartha Kitt in the penthouse there. This was in the 1950s. This was what was going on during that time. Now we are now in the beginning of the seventh millennium. And look what is happening at the beginning of this seventh millennium. 1995, going up is a precursor to the seventh millennium. 1995, million man march in Washington, D.C. A million black men showed up at the mall of Washington, D.C. All of this have a meaning and a plan. Now, what happened 6 years later, at the beginning of the seventh millennium, 9/11, where the World Trade Center, the tallest building in New York, was burned down to the ground by so-called terrorists. And what happened? That was just 5 or 6 years after the March of Washington. What happened 7 years after that? In 2008, okay, 9/11 happened in 2001. In 2008, a man named Obama, who was non-white, became president of the United States, called the United States, or divided states, some call it, for the next 8 years. And the most amazing part about that is that there was a black queen of America in the form of Michelle Obama for 8 years in the White House. And they left it in 2016. And merely 4 years after that, 4 years after that, because of a virus, something small that you cannot see, educational system was shut down around most of the world. Educational system, economic system shut down, religious system shut down, governments shut down, practically. Because this is the beginning of the seventh millennium. And what that great person, Michael Jackson, said is that this is it. That was the tour this tour all about? When his tour was named This Is It, it was not about his retirement. He was saying this is it for that world that has crumbled. Previously to that, he made a video, an album called Thriller, which was an accurate depiction of the world we are living in. Thriller. Actual. And then he made another video called Do You Remember? This is for black people because it's in your DNA. Do you remember? Huh? And he used black people, Eddie Murphy as a pharaoh of Egypt, who is heavily melanated, and Iman, who was from Africa, as a queen of Egypt. And the title was Do You Remember? This is black people, do you remember? So he depicted Thriller, showing us the condition of the world we are living in, the realness of it. And then a video stating, do you remember? It's in your DNA. And now what's going on? Africa have to wake up. They're still asleep. They are letting Chinese come into their country, giving them resources, even a woman, the thing that's most despicable and hateful. And they had a video from China stating that they did not want African coming in because they feared that they would take the Chinese woman. But Africans had no fear or no worry or no contest against them taking the African woman and their resources. What else do they have to take next? And their land. My goodness, these things have to go. And so, as I state, the Chinese have to be kicked out of China. A meteor will land in Beijing, China, New York City, and London. A meteorite. Because NASA, a year ago, sent a missile up to the sun. They send many missiles into space as if they're having war through outer space. But the universe is fighting back. In this new millennium, the 7th millennium, our time, that God rests. People have so much fear of that God of the Bible, one of the God of the Bible. It's in their mind, in their consciousness. And one of women and men from Africa doing so despicable thing, marrying Caucasian and now Asians. because they have no knowledge of themselves or of others. And worse off in that way than African Americans. But judgment is here now.